Officers put them in separate cells. No one talks to anyone until I say so.
5 years after we graduated from university, I still couldn't find a job. Every day, my family prayed that God would open a door for me. Then, one evening, Daniel called me. He sounded excited. He told me his parents had used their connections to secure me a job interview with a major oil company in Port Harcourt. I couldn't believe it. It felt like all my prayers had finally been answered.
Daniel even told me his mother had given me 350,000 euro for my flight and other travel expenses. The following morning, he personally drove me to the airport. Before I boarded, he assured me that his cousin would be waiting in Port Harcourt to take me straight to the company. I thanked him with all my heart. I believed my life was about to change forever.
The young man paused. A tear rolled down his cheek. Young man, when I landed in Port Harcourt, everything happened exactly as Daniel had described. His cousin received me. We got into a car. I called Daniel to thank him. I said, "Daniel, I've met your cousin. We're heading to the company now." The room fell silent. The young man's voice began to shake. Young man. Then Daniel started laughing. He said, "April Fool, there is no interview." He told me his parents wanted someone to travel to Port Harcourt to collect an important package, but he didn't feel like making the trip. So he sent me instead. My world collapsed. I was humiliated. The detective frowned. Lead detective, was that the end of it? The young man slowly shook his head. No, that was only the beginning. While I was in Port Harcourt, back in Lagos, my mother suddenly collapsed. She was rushed to the hospital. The doctor said she urgently needed blood. I was the only person whose blood type matched hers. The hospital kept calling me, but my phone was off during the flight. By the time they finally reached me, it was too late. I immediately booked the next available flight back to Lagos. I prayed all the way home that my mother would still be alive. The young man lowered his head. Young man, but before we could land, the aircraft encountered severe turbulence. The pilot made an emergency landing. Everyone survived, but the delay cost me precious time. When I finally reached the hospital, my mother had already died. The detective sat in stunned silence. My grandmother lived with us. The moment she heard that her daughter had died, she screamed, collapsed to the floor, and never recovered. She died from the shock. The detective slowly removed his glasses. The young man's voice became even weaker. My father couldn't bear the pain. After burying my mother and my grandmother, he suffered a massive stroke. He survived, but he has been confined to a wheelchair ever since. The detective looked down at the case file. Neither man spoke for several seconds. Finally, one careless April Fool prank took my mother, took my grandmother, left my father permanently disabled, destroyed my family. The detective finally broke the silence. Lead detective, if you never wanted revenge, then who fired the gun at Daniel's wedding? The young man wiped away his tears. Young man, I didn't. I chose to walk away. But my elder brother never forgave Daniel. The day we buried our mother, he stood beside her grave and made a promise. He said, "Daniel will one day feel the same fear this family has felt." The detective's eyes widened. Young man, I begged him to let it go, but he refused. He believed Daniel's prank didn't just ruin my life, it destroyed our entire family. Detective, I think my brother is the man you're looking for. The detective immediately reached for his phone. The case had finally taken a shocking turn. The detective immediately ordered a team of officers to arrest the young man's elder brother. Within hours, he was found at his home and taken into custody without resistance. During interrogation, he remained silent for several minutes. Then he finally spoke. "Yes, I fired the gun." The detective looked at him. "Why?" He looked directly at Daniel. "I never wanted to kill him. If I wanted Daniel dead, I had many opportunities. I only wanted him to feel what my family felt: fear, confusion, helplessness. The shots were blanks. No one was ever meant to die. The note was for Daniel. I wanted him to understand that one careless prank destroyed my family." Daniel broke down in tears. He slowly walked toward his former friend. His voice trembled. "I thought it was just a joke. I never imagined it would cause so much pain. I'm truly sorry." The young man looked at him with tears in his eyes. "Young man, your apology cannot bring back my mother. It cannot bring back my grandmother.
It could not make my father walk again. But I refuse to spend the rest of my life consumed by hatred. I forgive you, not because you deserve it, but because I want peace. Daniel fell to his knees, overwhelmed with guilt. Months later, the court found the elder brother guilty of discharging a firearm in public, causing panic, and making criminal threats. He was sentenced according to the law. Years later, after serving his prison sentence, he rebuilt his life. A few months later, he received unexpected news. He won the U.S. Diversity Visa lottery and began a new life abroad. He left the painful memories behind, determined to build a better future. Although Daniel's friend forgave him, their friendship was never the same again. Some wounds heal, but some broken relationships never become the same again. Narrator: a joke should make people laugh, not destroy lives. Before you prank someone, ask yourself, what if this goes terribly wrong? Because one careless decision can change many lives forever.